The Krabby Patty's secret formula is whale. Hear me out. When a whale dies, it sinks to the bottom of the ocean floor, where it can sustain an entire ecosystem for years. Mr. Krabs is a crab, and crabs are scavengers. So he stumbled upon this dead whale, and he realized it would be an excellent business opportunity. But near the carcass, he found Pearl. He might have felt guilty for using her dead mom's meat, so he adopted her. Or maybe his intentions were darker, much darker. Maybe he knew he would eventually run out of whale meat, and so he's raising Pearl. So when she's big enough, she will replace her mom as the secret formula. And he keeps it a secret, because if she finds out, it's bye-bye Krusty Krab. Yo, why is Tyler working in the hallway? Because democracy is brutal. So this one teacher had a rough week. The class was loud all week, no one listened to her, it was a total chaos week. Friday comes around, and instead of teaching, she says, "Clearly something's wrong with this class dynamic, so let's fix it." She pulls out a stack of paper slips, passes them around, and says, "I want each of you to write down the name of the student that you think is holding back this class. Be honest." Kids start looking around. They're confused. And don't worry, this will be anonymous. They all write quietly. Slip by slip, she collects them, throws them into a box. Then she starts reading them out loud. Tyler, 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 sometimes Emma, but mostly Tyler. Tyler again. By the 10th one, Tyler's head is just on his desk. He can't believe this. Well, Tyler, it looks like your classmates think you're the issue. You have anything to say to that? He doesn't. Okay, so Monday you'll be sitting in the hallway during class, doing solo work until further notice, and the rest of the class just stared at him because Tyler had been quite literally democratically voted out of the class. That is actually insane. Every day this kid would come home with bruises and cuts, and his mom would always ask, "Oh my God, sweetie, what happened to you?" "Oh, just football, Mom. It's rough." But here's the truth. It wasn't from football. After school, there was this fight club that was in somebody's garage who lived near the school. It wasn't just like one or two kids. It was like 30 of them. They would gather at this guy's garage, they would circle up, and they would throw down. And here's the thing. The guy that hosted this, his parents worked late, so they were never home after school. "All right, gather in. Round one. Martouche and Kenny. You ready? Let's rock, Salmon Man." And they weren't going easy on each other either. It was insane. There was split lips, busted teeth, and what's the rule of Fight Club? You know it. Nobody talked about it outside of this circle. So every night this kid would walk back in his house, beat up, bloody, and he would say the same thing. "Football practice, Mom. It was rough, but it was never football." That's insane. One day, this kid bought a bunch of clear iPhone cases for cheap, and he had this friend who was good with graphic design. So what he would do is he would have his friend make this cool design of whatever he wanted. His friend would then print it and cut it down so it would fit perfectly inside this phone case. And it looked awesome. Clear phone case, this graphic design insert, it was legit. Custom fit, looked expensive. He did it to his phone case first. It was an anime design and it looked awesome. People saw this and they were immediately intrigued. Well, interest grew. And soon, he was taking orders for people. NBA, anime, SpongeBob, Shrek. He was making these custom phone cases and selling them. Then he starts bundling them together. 3 phone cases for $10. 6 for $15. And business was absolutely booming. He kept buying these clear phone cases. His friend kept designing these designs and custom cutting them to fit the cases. And people were buying them. They were all over the school. The thing was, his friend that was designing these and printing them was using the school's printers. The IT guy realized how much printing had been done, and he told the principal. And this whole thing had to be shut down. But by then, he had made $530. And those phone cases became collectibles. Some students even reselling them for 3 times the price they bought them for. Honestly, you gotta respect the hustle. This is so freaking cool. So it was fall, and a couple kids, they decide to make a backyard carnival. Obviously, it was nothing official. Just some old toys, a plastic table, and whatever junk they could find. One kid stacked some soup cans on a chair. Knock them down, you win a prize. The other kid taped a bucket to the fence. 3 throws for 1 quarter. But then they got creative. Somebody dragged over a busted wagon and tied it to a bike. And suddenly it was a roller coaster. "You ready, bro? Get in." "I'm in, man. Let's go." "All right." This is awesome. Another kid tied a tire to a tree branch, and there you had it, a swing. They did it just for them at first, like a fun way to spend the afternoon. But then kids from the block started to show up. "Yo, what is this?" "It's a carnival, bro. Come on." By the end of the day, the entire backyard was packed. it, and a ton of kids from the neighborhood were bringing their own stuff over. It was insane. Candy, prizes, homemade rides. Parents were even showing up, like, what the heck is happening back here? But they loved it. They thought it was super creative. It wasn't professional, it wasn't safe. But for that one day, that backyard was a freaking carnival, baby, and that's awesome. Oh, is she just on TikTok right now? I mean, I guess we can all be on our phones then. No phones in class. What? So this teacher at this one school was just done. She was tenured, bitter, and she didn't even fake it anymore. She walked in late almost every single day, never brought in her laptop, and gave students independent reading like 5 days a week. But this time, she just kind of took it a little too far. She walked in 10 minutes late, holding Starbucks, sat down at her desk and said, "I'm not really in the mood today, class, so just pretend I gave you something to do." Then she pulled out her phone and didn't even put headphones on. She just started scrolling on TikTok full volume while sipping her coffee. The whole class looked around like, wait, what are we supposed to do? But naturally, a few people pulled out their phones as well. You know, I guess it's totally fine to be on our phone today, they thought. Absolutely not. No phones allowed. I don't want to hear a sound from you guys. Silent. Do something, but be silent. They're like, you're literally watching TikToks in front of us. What the heck's your problem? That's when one kid pulled his phone back out. Not to scroll, but to record a video.
If I post myself and get, I don't care how cheap something is.
Just a quick video, her at her desk watching TikTok full volume, sipping her coffee, and the rest of the class sitting in silence. He posted it that night. Next day, 40,000 views. Somebody sent that video to the principal. The next day, the principal pulled him aside and asked him to take the video down. But instead of getting mad, he said this: "Thank you for sharing that. We're gonna use it." They're gonna use it, he says. By sixth period, the superintendent showed up at the school. He walked straight into that classroom. The principal was behind him. They asked that teacher to step out in the hallway. She never came back in. The next day, they had a sub. Good. That teacher should definitely not be teaching.
At this school, band kids were always clowned. Hey, nice clarinet, loser. What the heck? But especially this one kid named Eli. Eli played the French horn, and he took it everywhere he went. On the bus, assemblies, to class. And there was this one dude named Zach, and Zach would always give Eli crap for playing the French horn. Nice instrument, Eli. I bet it sounds like a dying whale. But Eli didn't let it get to him. Then came the spring concert. Big crowd, parents, staff, the gym was decorated, and Zach was there because his mom forced him to go because she was on the school board or something. Well, halfway through, the conductor goes, "And now, a featured solo by our French horn player, Eli." And Zach's like, "All right, let's see this." Eli stands, French horn in hand, and he cooks. It's not just good, it's cinematic. The entire crowd stopped breathing during the solo because it was that beautiful. Finishes, there was a few seconds of silence, and then the crowd erupts. After the show, Zach walks over to Eli, and all he says is this: "Hey man, yeah, you snapped. My bad for everything. Sorry." Eli doesn't say a word. He picks up his French horn, and he walks away.
This game was banned from the school. It was a game called Get Down, Mr. President, and it worked like this. Anytime, anywhere, somebody could yell, "Get down, Mr. President," and every kid in the area would have to put their finger to their ear, like this. Kind of like how Secret Service agents do. But here's the thing. The last person to put their finger to their ear would get tackled by everybody in the area. Gosh darn it! Get 'em! It would be a full-on dog pile. In the hallways, courtyards, band practice one time. It got so bad that one day a kid was tackled into the water fountain and the water fountain fell off the wall. Water was spraying everywhere. One teacher joined in one time and tackled a student. He was then fired, obviously. The school eventually banned it. They were calling it a coordinated ambush activity. They put it in the announcements and everything, but that just made it worse. Because people still shouted, "Get down, Mr. President." And the kids went, "Should I play or get in trouble?" And most kids still played. That's crazy. At this school, snacks were allowed, but certain snacks were banned, like hot Cheetos, Takis, and anything sour. And the school wasn't joking about this either. If you got caught with them, that was a detention immediately. "Is this Sour Patch Kids?" "Yes." "Detention." So them being this illegal made kids want them more. So one kid's sitting back looking at the situation. He's like, okay, so these snacks are basically illegal, but everybody wants them. and he commits. He goes to the store, and his bedroom becomes a storage. Boxes, drawers, bags, all full of these banned snacks. Every morning, he would grab a small handbag, nothing too crazy, and he would put a bunch of these snacks in there. He would then take it to school. And he's not selling openly. He's being very discreet about this. Between classes, quick handoffs, and it blows up. People are nervous buying them. Hey bro, let me get some Takis and sour gummies. Got you. Everybody's paranoid. So he makes it very clear. Every time he does a sale, he says this: if you're caught with this, that's on you. If you snitch, that's a whole different issue. And standing by him every single time is his best friend. Big buff dude. He never talked much. If you snitch, he'll find you and he'll get you. Yeah, and nobody snitched. For a while, one kid did, and he wasn't caught with candy or in the act of buying it. He snitched because he was petty. He was jealous of this kid's business and he wanted to shut it down himself, so he did. And there was a huge investigation launched, and that kid who started this business was expelled. That's too much. This would happen across the school every single day. Different classrooms, different floors, but every day at exactly 12:17 p.m. Can I use the bathroom? 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 Nothing suspicious. Not really a pattern that these teachers could put together very easily because, like I said, they were each in a different classroom. But here's what nobody knew. At the far end of the school, in the quiet bathroom nobody ever uses, these kids would go and run full-blown underground Beyblade battles. Every day after they released from the classroom, they would sprint to this bathroom. And when they would get there, they would let it frickin' rip. They had a few of those classic plastic Beyblade arenas, and they were just going to town. They would put money on it as well. Come on, I got 20 bucks on this. You're totally gonna lose, bro. Milk! Doesn't that sound frickin' awesome? They had a blast. I would love this. Well, more and more people were kind of told about this, and more students began joining. And eventually it became this kind of thing. They were caught and shut down forever. But nobody forgot about that. The random bathroom Beyblade battles at 12:17 p.m. every day. That's awesome.